I wanted to talk about very briefly my understanding when it comes down to feminine health and taking care of the body. I'm not going to make this extensive. I'm not going to do all that. But I will tell you, Trust and Obedience Ministries did do a video that was extensive on this. But I'm going to talk about, from my wisdom and personal knowledge, what I did when I was doing and taking care of those elements. Certain seasons, you got the money to do those kinds of things. When you got the money to do those kinds of things, you do more of them. In certain seasons, you got to work with what you got. Okay? Now, for us feminine females, number one, I have seriously been looking at the product Lumi. Now, I've heard some people say that Lumi don't have a great scent to it, so on and so forth. But I've been intrigued by Lumi and potentially ordering something like that because they have a soap that not only do they have a deodorant bar or deodorant, um, like a regular deodorant stick that can be used all over the body that comes against odor, but they also have a soap. And this, when used all over the body, you do not deal with the amount of odors, especially for those of us that are changing our diets. When you're changing your diet, when you're taking more vitamins, when you're doing all of these kinds of things, your body can on occasion have internal upsets that will cause your body to give off odors. You'll get gas and flatulence. It smells to high hell. You'll have all of these kinds of things. If you're one, it's very good. It's a lot of things that are very good for you to incorporate in your diet. Onions, um, asparagus, garlic, all of these kinds of things are great for your diet, horrible for your breath, horrible when you start sweating. Okay? So having something like a Lumi product is definitely something that you should consider, and having an antiperspirant. I have antiperspirant right now that I believe it's Secret, that's 7 times stronger than a regular antiperspirant. Why? When you consecrate, when you do all those kinds of things, odor can be more prevalent, especially if you're eating garlic and all of these kinds of things for your health. But you don't deal with a lot of illnesses, sicknesses, or diseases because you're taking care of the body. So, with those things, you taking care of your body. Next to that, using a Lumi deodorant, using the soap. Now, there are a lot of people, they like to use black castor oil and some of these kinds of things for certain elements on the body. For some of it's in the hair. They use jojoba oil. A lot of this stuff when they do certain masks for your hair, for growth, for length retention, for shedding certain things, especially for those that if you become pregnant, you may be wanting to make sure that your hair, especially the ones that deal with edge issues, that there's postpartum and that them edges be going away. Now, one of the ministers I follow, she came out with a whole vitamin line, and her vitamin line, she has something specifically for hair, and they specifically formulated it for hair, and that's Dr. Whitaker. So she has her own vitamin line. You want to check that out? That's up to you. But what other things? you can look into feminine care. That's what I wanted to come for. Specifically, understanding that certain times of the month, you know how you operate with your body. You have to understand how your body operates. I'm the type of person, I check. I check and make sure, is there more odor this time of the month? Is there less odor in this time of the month? What's going on with my body? How is it looking? I remember I was watching a video on YouTube and the young woman was talking about how you should check what is coming out of you to make sure, is it too dark? Is it too light? A lot of this can be solved by drinking a lot of water. Now, the secondary thing is I was looking and checking into feminine washes. Now, interestingly enough, a lot of the pH balanced feminine washes actually can't be used down there. And I was like, I thought that was the point, but they actually can't be used in that area. So the only thing that I would ever suggest, and a lot of people, to each his own, using a douche. I would never tell you to use a douche consistently, day after day, month after month, year after year. No. You use a douche during one of three things. If you're having sex, you use a douche. If your time of the month comes on. More so, I would say during the time of the month, because especially if those of you coming into marriage, y'all might be having sex more often than you was used to previously. So I wouldn't say be using that pH balance douche every other day if you got it going down like that. But I would suggest that you use it at least once a month, just to make sure everything is cleaned out and cleared out in there. What I found is after you've used it, that especially those of you that you got money like that, once you've used the bottle, you soak it in bleach, make sure it's fully cleaned in, out, all that, and you can reuse that bottle for you put distilled water in it and then put a few drops of white vinegar. Now, I would not suggest the one with the mother root in it because I don't know how that works and if it will cause any type of extra irritation, even though I would think that because it's got the mother root in it, it would actually do better. But to each his own. Okay. I am not a medical professional. This is just for educational purposes. That's why I say I don't suggest. But you can do it that way. Next to that, I used to use, in previous seasons of my life, I used to use the KY ointment. It was a suppository that if you have pattern dryness, you can fix your pattern dryness. I'm going to tell you, the easiest way to fix dryness is to just drink a lot of water. Drink a lot of water. That'll fix your dryness in 95% of the cases. If you follow the water regimen I gave you earlier in the other videos, then you should have you should be able to go a certain period of time, and you shouldn't need anything extra moistening. But I've also heard from my people that do have pattern dryness, from 3 different people, they said that you should use boric acid. I've never tried it, but it's a suppository that goes up there and it helps lubricate. Okay. So, and that can just be a good thing to do because you're dry. Dryness promotes bacteria, promotes you're dry, you got, if you can end up with infection, yeast infections, all that kind of stuff. Be careful of that. So when it comes to that, what other stuff? Now, I remember I was looking at a video one time, and what they did was some women will not sleep with underwear. And I found that depends on how your body flows, if you understand what I'm saying. If your body is one that you deal with more dryness or you're drier, you can go ahead. You sleep with nothing. But most people that deal with moisture issues, you may actually want to go ahead and put on cotton underwear with a pad of some sort. Panty liner, panty. Because you want to make sure that if you deal with discharge. Now, there's some other stuff I want to discuss in relation to that, but I'm going to dig a little bit deeper because I want to try some stuff, and I'm going to give you, what I'll do is I will make a post because I've heard some recommendations. Some of them I don't have the links to right offhand, so I'm not suggesting them just yet because I can't think of their names. But I will tell you about Simply Balanced, I believe is one that does a vaginal vaginal health vitamin, and it's another one that I'm trying to think of off the top of my head that has another vitamin that you can take. This is just good for detoxifying your body in that. Especially for those of you're going from a phase where it was drier than the Sahara down there for a reason. you ain't been doing nothing. And now you going to be in a relationship with somebody. You gonna want to make sure everything is all in order down there. So, yeah, I wanted to discuss that. I don't want to go into in-depthness. We'll go into in-depthness in another video at another time. But I think that was good enough for what I wanted to say. Other than that, I think I'm good for right now. And I'll come back with the next one.